Hello friends, I am going to cover the whole syllabus with respect to every chapter in your B.Ed curriculum. So most of the exam papers have 5 marks and 10 marks questions. So I'm going to explain every topic in question and answer format so that it will be easy for you to prepare for your exams. You can take screenshot of every slide that I'm going to present for you to study later.
So first we are going to look into all the 5 marks question that can be possibly asked in the exams. I think all these 5 marks questions will cover your entire syllabus. So the first question that we are going to look into is define inclusion. What is inclusion? Inclusion is the practice of educating all children together in regular classrooms. That is, they don't have any separate classrooms, regardless of their physical, intellectual, social, emotional, or linguistic differences. So, we are basically treating all children alike. Then, the explanation that is given is it ensures that children with and without disabilities learn together in the same educational setting, and it promotes equal participation and access to learning opportunities. And schools, what they have to do is they have to remove barriers to learning and participation so that every child can succeed. Teachers should adopt flexible teaching methods and supportive strategies to address their diverse learning needs. So every student has his own speed of learning. So it is a responsibility of the teacher to find methods, find ways so that every child gets the knowledge equally. And then inclusion encourages respect for diversity, cooperation, and integration among students. See, in a particular class, students from many cultural backgrounds attend the class. So, this inclusion will uh, make children respect all the cultures, all the diverse cultures, all the different religious backgrounds, economic backgrounds, and it will also teach cooperation and integration among students. Next question is explain the nature of inclusive education. The definition of inclusive education we have seen in the previous question. So what is the nature of inclusive education? First, it is equality and equity focused. Everybody in the class are equal. And then it is child centered. It is child centered, non-discriminatory, supportive atmosphere, collaborative, dynamic and adaptable. Dynamic is it keeps on changing according to the students' needs. And then right base. Every right of every child is very important. That's what this means. So the next question comes is differentiate between impairment and disability. We all think impairment and disability are one and the same. We use it interchangeably, but they are different. Impairment means it is related to a body part. It is related to the functioning of a body part. That is, if any functioning of the body part is disturbed, then it is called impairment. But disability is it is not related to body part, but it is our functioning, our day-to-day functioning. It is not able to perform our day-to-day activities efficiently. So let us see the differences. So impairment refers to the loss or abnormality in the body structure or function, whereas disability refers to limitation in performing activities due to impairment. Okay. So impairment is related to physical, sensory, or mental conditions. It is something related to our body. But disability is difficulty in participation in day-to-day activities. It is identified from a medical perspective. It is influenced by social and environmental barriers. Focuses on the condition of the individual and focuses on the impact of the condition on functioning. Vision loss, hearing loss, limb deformity are examples of impairment. Difficulty in reading, communication, moving in school are disability examples. So basically, impairment is related to a body part, not functioning of a particular body part or an organ or something related to the body. But this disability is our it is related to environment. Next question is differentiate between assessment and evaluation. Like impairment and disability, Assessment and evaluation also we use interchangeably, but they are not the same. They have differences. So, what is assessment? Assessment is a day to day activity, like a teacher randomly making a student stand up and asking him some question just to check if he has understood the topic. But evaluation is done in a formal setting, that is, final exams, quarterly exams, half yearly exams, annual exams, such kind of things are called evaluation. Whereas assessment is something that happens in our everyday classroom. So, assessment is a process of collecting information about students' learning progress. Evaluation is making judgment about students' performance based on the assessment results. Assessment is continuous and carried out during the learning process. It is a continuous process. There is no formal setup for assessment. Whereas evaluation, it is done at the end of the learning period. It focuses on improvement of teaching and learning. So if the student goes wrong, the teacher can assess, conduct some assessment, like just making him stand up in the class and asking him a question, and then she can find out where he is lagging behind, what is his problem, or if all the students are, or if the students are not understanding a particular topic, the teacher may rectify herself. The teacher may find a problem within her teaching strategies and she might rectify it. So assessment is useful for both the teacher and the learner. So it helps in the smooth functioning of the teaching and learning process. So so evaluation focuses on measuring the measuring the level of achievement. Assessment helps to identify the strength and weaknesses of students. Evaluation helps to determine whether learning objectives are achieved. So examples of assessment are quizzes, observation, assignment, class activities. They're very informal. Whereas evaluation is final exams, grades, reports. That is evaluation. That is done in a formal setting. The next question is define curriculum. So curriculum is one of the most important aspect to run a school. Without a curriculum, a school cannot function. So here is the definition of the curriculum. Planned and organized set of learning experiences provided by an educational institution to achieve the educational goals. So these are all the components of the curriculum, and importance of the curriculum also is given. You can go through it. The next question is universal design for learning, UDL. So what is UDL? It is a framework that aims to design teaching methods, curriculum, learning environments so that they are accessible to all learners. So every learner is uh, having access to this universal design for learning. This includes students with different diverse abilities, like students with varying mental abilities or varying physical abilities. It involves, or it is helpful for all the students. So what are the principles of UDL? Very important. So multiple means of representation. See, present information in different ways to support understanding. So they have developed this universal design for learning, keeping every student in the mind. So it has various ways of representing things so that it is easily understood, understandable by all the students of the class. Multiple means of engagement encourage motivation and participation of the learners. See, at the end of the day, every student should be motivated to do should be motivated to learn. So this universal design of learning has multiple means of engaging the students and keeping them motivated for a longer time, and multiple means of expression, allowing students to demonstrate learning in different ways. So this makes the student very creative. And the purpose, what is the purpose of this UDL? It helps to remove barrier in learning and ensures equal access and education for all the students. Now let us see what are all the possible 10 marks questions in this chapter. One thing you have to remember is 10 marks questions are an extension of 5 marks questions. So they are a bigger version of 5 marks questions. So let us see what are all the possible 10 marks questions. So the first question is discuss the history of inclusion. So how inclusion evolved over time we are going to see in this question. So what happened before 20th century? In then early 1900s, there were special schools. In 20th century, all the students with all the children who are disabled are not considered fit for education. So they were kept aside. But from 1900s, as you see, you can read this, they slowly special schools evolved for uh, disabled children or children with any kind of differences. So in 1950s to 1970s, there were people who fought for equal rights. Then from 1980s to 1990s, this mainstreaming concept came up. Mainstreaming is that children with disabilities are made to attend classes along with the normal students. But this was not very common. Only few schools mainstreaming started. But from 1990s, every school started this inclusive education concept wherein all students should study together. So this is the evolution of inclusive education. So why is there a paradigm shift from disability to inclusive view and also to biocentric to human rights? So what they are asking, how disability has been seen in the past and how it has been included in the present into the mainstream. Also, what are the biological aspects of this disability? So that is what they are asking. So earlier, disability was treated as a medical problem within the individual that required diagnosis, treatment, and rehabilitation. So people who are disabled were separated from the normal people and they were put into special schools. Okay, whereas in inclusive perspective, what inclusive perspective tells is that disability is nothing but it is a result of interaction between the individual limitations and the societal barriers. Now, so basically inclusive perspective is nothing but it deals with mainstreaming. That is, uh, the people with disabilities and the normal people should be in the same class. Both of them should study together. That is the main concept of inclusive perspective. And the curriculum also is designed accordingly. So it provides equal participation and opportunities to all learners within the same classroom. That is very important here. So this question basically has two parts. From a shift from disability to inclusion and shift from biocentric approach to human rights. So this is the second part, biocentric approach to human rights. How has the shift happened? So what is biocentric approach? Biocentric approach mainly deals with biological problems of the individuals. Okay. So as we already know, people with disabilities are viewed as dependents. That is, they are dependent on somebody and they are incapable and they require medical care. So now human rights approach, it recognizes that every individual, irrespective of the disabilities or the differences that they have right to education, dignity, and participation in the society. And educational systems, that is schools, must ensure that every student, irrespective of whatever problems he has, should get equal opportunities, should get should get accessibility, and should get inclusive learning environments. And then the international frameworks and national policies emphasize on rights, equality, and social inclusion. Then, what is the significance of this shift? So, basically, it encourages social justice and equality, promotes inclusive education systems that respect diversity, and ensure that people with disabilities can participate in education in the society. So, now, next question is explain various policies and acts for education of children with disabilities. So, the government has come up with many policies for keeping in mind the children with disabilities. So some of the major policies and acts are RPWD Act, that is Rights of Person with Disabilities. Then Right to Education Act 2009, and amendment. This act came in 2009 and it got amended in 2012. Then UNCRPD Act, that is United Nations Convention on Rights of Persons with Disabilities. The National Trusts Act, National Education Policy 2020, and these are all the educational implications of the above acts. You can go through them. Discuss briefly about inclusive education. This we have read in the 5 marks question, and some extra points are key principles, importance of the inclusive education, advantages, and disadvantages. Explain in detail about impairment. This we have seen in the 5 marks question, but in 10 marks they are asking it in detail. So you can go through all this, the characteristics of impairment. What are the various characteristics of impairment? Problems of the body, problems in the body structure or body function. It may affect physical movement, sensory abilities, or cognitive functioning. It may be present at birth, congenital. Congenital means condition that has come up in during the birth time or due to injury, illness, or accidents. And there are many examples of this impairment you can go through. If to also mention about various types of impairment, that is physical impairment, sensory impairment, intellectual impairment, speech and language impairment, and what are the educational implications and the concluding part. Explain in detail about disability. Same as 5 marks question, but little more detailed. What are the characteristics of disability? Examples. Then just like impairment, what are the types of disability? Physical, sensory, intellectual, learning disabilities. What are its educational implications and conclusions?